Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your girl, Priscilla Zeno, the healing partner. Welcome to WindDown Wednesdays. I'm super excited to talk to you guys today. I hope you guys are ready. If you haven't already, get your coffee, get your tea. Let's talk about transition today. Let's get ready to do it, y'all. I hope y'all ready to do it. So we're going to give some more people some time to come in. So enjoy the music. And let's get ready to talk about some transition in our lives. I hope you guys are ready today. Okay, let's get it. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Priscilla Zeno. I am the healing partner. I am certified in energy medicine. I am also a certified peer recovery specialist. I am a certified community health worker, but most importantly, I am all things self-healing and self-care. I am the self-healing guru. So today we are going to be talking about spiritual transition. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Sanji. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm super excited about the topic that we have today. I'm super excited about what we're going to be sharing, and I'm excited about what this is going to do for folks. This topic. Last week we talked about spiritual shift. That's what we talked about last week. We talked about spiritual shift. And so this week we're talking about spiritual transition. And again, my name is Priscilla Zeno. I am the healing partner. And we are going to get into what spiritual transition looks like, what it looks like. I do want to say before I get started, we are here every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. from 12 noon, again at 8:30 a.m. and then again at 7. Please don't forget to like and share this video. And let's get into it with regards to our meditation and conversation for our Wind Down Wednesday. If we have some time, we'll move right into a breath connection or some form of 2-minute meditation. All right. So what do we need to know with regards to transition? Well, what I want to say is that I really enjoy reading different things with regards to transition and how it affects us, how that spiritual transition can come about. And I really enjoy Steve Noble's his outlook on what transition is. First of all, he says that there's a global shift that's happening right now, and our world is going through a great shift in consciousness. And this is necessary in order to birth a very different way of living and being on the planet. So this shift will change everything: the way we relate with nature, the way we treat non-human creatures on the planet, the way that we live on a day-to-day basis, and then also how we live with each other, the way we love one another, the way we educate and govern ourselves, and exactly what we need to be sure about ourselves. If we continue the way we are going, then we will continue to generate more problems if we're not conscious about what the transition is. So currently we're in a period of transition, and this is drawing many people, with regards to spiritual value and having spiritual value. Okay. So a transition is not quite the same thing as change. Okay, I want to make sure that we're clear on that. Transition is not the same thing as change. So what is a spiritual transition? So a spiritual transition basically involves change, but not all change involves a spiritual transition. Okay, so change is 2-dimensional, whereas spiritual transition is 3-dimensional. All right. So because the spiritual transition is three-dimensional, change is like moving along from like point A to point B, and there's like no depth. Okay, it's just merely just simple movement. That's all it is. A change is purely kind of external. You can change your brand of toothpaste, you can change your girlfriend, you can change your boyfriend, you can change your home or your friends or relationships or your career and still remain practically the same on the inside. All right. But a spiritual transition, on the other hand, it kind of shakes things up. It alters our psychology. Okay. The way we think, the way we feel, how we perceive the world, and force us to address the important questions of our existence. While like, why are we here? What do we want to do? What direction do we want to take? Where in the world do we truly belong? And these run counter to the more egocentric questions, such as, how can I get more of what I want? And how can I make more money? And how can I climb the status ladder quicker? So the experience of a radical shift, okay? The experience of a radical shift, which we talked about shift last week. We talked about what shift looks like and the difference between the shift and the transition. And we understand that shift is basically just kind of moving from, like if you were thinking about a basketball player, he has the ball and he can only shift in certain positions, but he's not totally transitioning out of the space of where he is. Okay, that's a shift. That's a shift. So a transition is you are going to actually experience a real move. Okay, like you're going to literally like alter your life completely. So there's an actual movement out of that space. So when we talk about that spiritual transition, it's like a life-altering event. And although the content will differ from person to person, the context is generally the same. Transition comes to shake up our lives. It opens us up. It moves us, and a shift and shift who we are being and becoming in the world. That one is real key. So they come to us. Transitional shift comes to help us. It comes to help kind of reconnect us to a sense of wholeheartedness and return us to a state of like resourcefulness, so that we can really stay connected and redirect us to a whole new track of our orientation in life. So transitions are not random events. I can't say this enough. Transition is not random events. They are literally orchestrated by a deep intelligence, okay, to disrupt and liberate ourselves. So we can call this deep intelligence soul many different things. Some people call it life force. Some people call it higher self. Some people call it Tao. Some people call it Buddha nature. Some people call it Christ consciousness. There are many names, but when it comes down to it, the name does not matter. The name does not matter, okay? A spiritual transition is a download of light from our higher self that fundamentally alters our core beliefs and our core sense of self, whereas change can happen without affecting the general direction of our lives. So a spiritual transition is like a radical change, of course. It's like change is purely material. However, spiritual transition kind of raises our consciousness to include a more spiritual awareness. So this does not mean that transition is going to be all light and bliss. It may take us, to a place where it may take us soaring up to a light, but equally a transition can plunge us into a darkness too. And that's okay, because when we are facing old wounds and we are facing shadows that we need to kind of bear witness to, that we felt, or that we needed to kind of connect with so that we can get to a higher place. That's okay. That's what transition is. A spiritual transition is always powerful, but it is not always convenient. It's a transition. A transition determines our routine. It shakes things up bigger over time, and it edges us out over a familiarity of zones. So a transition can also strip away everything that is non-essential and help us question everything we know about ourselves and everything we know about the world. And that's what is key for transition to happen, because you do want to have a deeper sense of self. You do want to have a deeper sense of all knowingness with regards to what's going on around you and what's going on within you. So how does transition begin? Well, transition begins with some form of discomfort. We may realize that something important is missing in our lives and start to reflect on what do we need to do about it. Or a transition is also often activated because of a deep level in which we want to realize about ourselves and the true potential in our life. So a transition may come to remind us of some core values we're not living right. All right. And that can be in any sense that in which you want to kind of describe that. Good morning, Samantha. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste to you this morning. So transition can literally help us in so many different ways with regards to us going deeper within ourselves and understanding more about ourselves. So at the end of the day, even though a transition may come to remind us of those core values with regards to the way we may not be living that we want to be living, whatever the reason of transition, whatever the reason is on how the transition begins, it could create kind of like a tension in our body and eventually kind of erupt in our lives and upsetting our plans and our routines. And it can also be an adventure. So that adventure is kind of calling, like, I hate to use this analogy, but it could be kind of calling like the Wizard of Gandalf, who knocks seamlessly like uninvited like hobbits to our door to help us. It's just kind of crazy, but I'm just using that as an analogy because we need to understand that you need to pay attention to all of the things that are going on around you. Connect with those signs, connect with the change, connect with all of it, because we might not like the call to the adventure, but it has to come nevertheless. It has to come. And our response to that call will eventually influence everything that follows after. So here are some of the things that we want to talk about with regards to like the general points, just like the general points to the process itself. Okay. So as we talk about kind of like the general points of the process itself, we're going to talk about one, there's no two transitions. No two transitions are the same. Okay. No two transitions are the same. No two transitions are the same in content, although all have the same structure and the process in the same way. So the process is not haphazard or random, even if it appears to be. And we need to connect with that, okay? We definitely need to connect with that. The second thing is the transition process helps us to release. And it does. It really does help us to release. The transition process helps us to release. It's like an outdated phase of our life to embrace a new phase in our life. That's how that happens. And we have to be kind of open to that. You know, just understanding that it's okay when we move, when we move into this space where that has to happen. All right. The next thing is that transition changes us from the inside out. Transition changes us from the inside out. Now, we are no longer the same person on the outside when that transition changes, okay? There's a shift that can happen on many levels at once, but we will change from the inside out, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, okay? Make no mistake about it. and embrace that. Take whatever time you need to embrace that change, so that, you know what I'm saying, you're feeling comfortable about it. Don't resist it, because I'm going to tell you something right now. The more that you resist it, what's going to happen is that you will start to see, you'll start to feel some distress about it. Okay, you'll start to feel some distress about it. Now, the last one, number 4, is all transitions are big. Okay, all transitions are big. So yes, all transitions are big, but some are bigger than others. So what you need to understand is that a big transition, it kind of strips us down to the core. So again, it changes our outer life. It then rebuilds us. Okay, it rebuilds us from the inside out. And such a major journey, in this major journey, we may take just once, or at most a few times in our life, to go through this transition, because it may not happen like one time. You know, I want you to think about yourself kind of like leveling up. All right. At the end of the day, we all can stay the same, but eventually we're going to have to level up. And so, understanding that there are different ways to experience this transition. Transition can be smooth, it can be joyful, it can be graceful, but alternatively, also, like I said earlier, it can also be rough. It can be confusing. It can be painful. There are also super rough transitions, which often offer like the greatest gifts ever. I can honestly say that based on the things that I have been through and throughout my life, I understand that they were all transitions in order for me to move in a different way. And it brought me to the place where I am now. And I'm super grateful for that. You know, a transition can help us strip away the unreal and let go of like this limiting conditioning, or sort of like a limiting sense of identity, and heal some of those old emotional wounds, making sure that we handle ambiguity. It's really hard to say that word. And then also allow us to smooth out that uncertainty and edge us out of our familiarity of safety zones, but help us stretch, help us grow, help us mature, help us open and awaken to, you know, the things that we need in our lives. And also, most importantly, reach new levels of authenticity and integrity, because there are so many more gifts. Okay, but you get to choose the ones that you want to trust. You get to choose the ones that you want to trust and the ones that you want to hold on to. All right. So I'm just going to close by saying that as I was going through my own transition, that, you know, but my very first transition, when I really recognized it, was leaving here and moving to Japan. And I understood that at that time, it was a huge transition for me, because it led me to a very confused place. It led me to a very, at the time, you know, I had a huge loss, so it led me to a very dark place. But it was also a very profound point in my life where I also saw the most light. And I know that may not make a whole lot of sense to you in the beginning. It may not. But I want you to understand that if you embrace that change, if you embrace it, you will see so many other wonderful gifts come to your life. You won't regret it. I promise you that. You will not regret it. So I talk about a lot of my transitions in my book, I Am Healing, the 7 Secrets to Wellness and Self-Care. And I wrote this book to help people with, I hope you guys can see that. Can you see that? I Am Healing, the 7 Secrets to Wellness and Self-Care, by me, your girl, Priscilla Zeno, the healing partner. Go pick up the book. You can pick it up at Amazon. You can pick it up at barnesandnobles.com, walmart.com, target.com, or you can go to my website, which is Priscilla Zeno, thehealingpartner.com. Now, in the book, I talk a lot about transition, and I talk a lot about change, and about how I was able to move myself through those different transitions, because at the end of the day, we do need to understand that transition sometimes will entail depression. Transition sometimes will entail anxiety, and we do need to be able to connect with those things that are hurting us, and then figure out the ways to heal ourselves and what tools we need to bring in to help help incorporate that healing. So before we go, I just want to say, for those of you who are still looking for a job, we are still looking for grant writers, we are still looking for a qualified mental health professional, and we are still looking for peer recovery specialists. Now, you do not need to be certified to be a peer, okay? If you are looking to get training, all right, with regards to becoming a peer, then you can definitely go to thatzenlife.org and inbox us, send us a message, and say that you would like to be a peer recovery specialist, and I will show you what that world looks like, and you can do your own research online, but it can happen, okay? And then next, That Zen Life Wellness Foundation is still looking for residential and commercial properties for rent and for sale. They are definitely needed. So if you have a property that is for rent or for sale, definitely reach out to us at info@thatzenlife.org. Tell us about your property, and someone will be contacting you soon so that we can continue to provide the help that we provide for all of the clients that we serve within our nonprofit. And last but not least, I want to just say thank you guys so much for being in this live, for joining today and learning more about transition and spiritual change within you. And I want to just say that most importantly, it is so important that you fill the negative spaces in your life with positively every single thing that you need. Now, don't forget to visit our website at thehealingpartner.com, or you can also visit thatzenlife.org. Thehealingpartner.com is my website where you can book me for speaking engagements, and I'm doing speaking engagements now because of the coronavirus. I'm doing virtual speaking engagements and also retreats. And for thatzenlife.org, if you are looking for assistance with if you're going through the recovery of mental health challenges such as anxiety or stress or trauma, maybe you're going through a process right now for substance abuse, all right, or alcoholism, and you're needing some assistance with that, with some support with that, you can definitely go to our website, thatzenlife.org, where we can provide the resources that you need and support, and also provide the support that you need. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for all that you guys have done. Thank you so much for joining again. We'll be back here today at 12 noon. Come back if you didn't get a chance to catch the whole entire live. Come back and join us at 12 noon, and then we'll be here again at 7. Namaste to each and every one of you. I love you guys. We are short on time to do our meditation, but we will close with a quick breath connection. So if you want to just kind of relax your shoulders, relax your arms, make sure that you're just kind of sitting. So sitting up like a mountain. You can place your hand on your heart. You can place your right hand or your left hand. I typically place my right hand. And you want to just sit quietly for a moment in stillness. Okay. And I'm going to add some music. I don't know if the music is going to, if you guys will be able to hear it. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. And I'm going to count down from 5, 4, relaxing your body. 3, making sure that your hand is over your heart. 2, getting ready to take a deep breath in through the nose. And 1, releasing it out of the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Relax. One more time. In through the nose. tail to the mouth. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Be well. Rock on. Fill the negative spaces in your life with positively everything you need. This is your girl, Priscilla Zeno, signing out. Bye-bye.